Well, I'm joined today by Sutherland from Oklahoma Mesonet, who's going to demonstrate how the SIP program works. Al, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, tell me first, what does SIP stand for?
Well, SIP stands for Simple Irrigation Plan, and it's really a website that deals with how you water your lawn, how long it takes, and gets you into how many minutes to run a sprinkler.
Okay, and what was the purpose of developing SIP?
Well, we looked at evapotranspiration models, that big word that nobody really understands. And what we found was that people looking at old style tables were just really confused. So they were really interested in finding a new way to know how long to run their sprinklers, but they were just really having troubles with the old models. So we moved that into a website where just a few clicks and you get that answer. How long do I need to run my sprinklers?
Okay, well, why don't we demonstrate how to use the program?
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and walk through it.
Well, the first thing, of course, is the website. It's sip.mesonet.org. As we come down the page, there's a simple watering plan, then there's an advanced watering plan, and advanced watering plus. And we're going to save those last two and really go back up here to the simple watering, because if you're doing that, you can get an answer in 5 to 10 seconds. And we'll click that. Well, the first thing to do, folks need to decide which Mesonet tower is closest to them. There's 120 towers right now, and for today we'll just go ahead and pick this Stillwater tower.
And for viewers, the Mesonet towers are where all the rainfall and temperature data is collected.
That's correct. They're automated towers, and they collect data around the clock every day of the year. And then we can choose how many days that you last watered or it rained. Do you remember when it last rained?
I think it's been about 5 days.
Okay, so we'll pick 5 days. And what kind of grass do you grow, Kim?
I have Bermuda and fescues.
Okay,
Let's look at the Bermuda.
Bermuda? Okay, we'll look at that. Of course, it's just starting to green up.
Yes.
And any particular sprinkler that you use?
We have the old-fashioned one in the middle there.
The old-fashioned one, okay. And what we've done is we've gone through and looked at all the different rates that these sprinklers put out. So we know the size of the pattern, and we also know how many gallons per minute they put out.
Okay.
So now we're going to go next, and you can see that with that sprinkler, to cover the amount of water that the grass used in the last 5 days, we would run it for an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Now that's set to a half pattern.
That's set to a half pattern, and you look at that and you see, well, half pattern, quarter pattern, full pattern, what does all that mean? Well, you can, this kind of sprinkler you have, you can adjust that at the sprinkler, and that's what this person has done here. They've adjusted it to just half. Now let's say they were going to put that in a corner and they were going to only do a quarter pattern, and you can see that the time really went down. And that's because we haven't changed the water volume at the valve, but we have changed the pattern, so we're doubling the amount of water that goes in there. And if we go over here to a full pattern, now we've got to water much longer because that water is now being spread over 4 areas instead of that quarter.
So some of the benefits of this are to help homeowners water at the proper time, avoid overwatering.
Yeah, we were really trying to come up with a way to take the science of evapotranspiration, and which has been around for a number of decades, and put that into a real life question and answer. The other thing that we did, and let me just click on this half pattern, we can also look at how much it will cost to water.
Okay.
So I can click down here, and let's say on the half pattern that I'm going to do, I'm going to move that, we'll say 4 times. So we're going to run it in 4 different spots in the lawn, and each of those times we're going to run it about 2 hours.
Okay.
And now I can come down here to Stillwater, which is where we're at, And you can see that your water rate here is $1.62. And then we can run a calculation on that, and it actually comes back and shows us how much it's going to cost to run those.
Okay.
So, and one thing this water rate does not take into account is sewer costs, because this was just strictly the cost of the water. One of the things that I wanted to show you was that if we have an automatic sprinkler system, and we'll just take this one because this is based on a pop-up rotor,
Okay.
which is probably the most common. Now it comes back and it says, well, we only have to run that 15 or 18 minutes. The way this is set up is that we took there are basically 4 heads and looked at what kind of pattern they would create and how much water would go on there, which is pretty standard for the industry. So that's how we get the amount of water in the area that we're going to water. We now can tell it how many heads we have. So let's say we have 12 heads in the one zone that we want to water, and we can calculate that, and you can see that it's readjusted the amount that it's going to cost to run that sprinkler.
Well, I'm surprised at how quickly we can get a response out of here.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that, Kim, because we really did work hard to make it something that really works quickly. And I know I've gone and used it on Saturdays. You know, I go out, oh my gosh, I need to water, come back in, and within 5 to 10 seconds I've got an answer. So it really is handy that way. There's no passwords, no accounts. You can just get right on the website and go right into the stuff.
Okay, can we move back and look at some of the sprinkler heads? There's a wide range here. Could you just talk a little bit about the efficiencies of each?
Okay, I'd really be glad to. These impact sprinklers that are on the screen right now, that's really old technology. If you think back probably 60 or even 70 years ago, that was a sprinkler that was out in agriculture and was on school grounds and stuff. And the reason they called it an impact is that each time that the head hits, it throws water. And that impact with the water actually turns the head.
Okay.
If we go down and look at something a little bit newer, this one that I've pointed to on screen is a turbine rotor, and it follows the same kind of technology that they've gone to on golf courses. So what this one, it doesn't have any impact. There's no side splash from the sprinkler, and you can see how nice and straight the sprinklers are, and you set that and it goes exactly where you want it. So if you want a 90-degree angle, it works out fine. If you need something a little bit varied from that, you don't have to worry about that side splash, and it really works out well.
Well, this service is free and available to the public. How did that come about?
Well, it came about, if we come back here to the home place, one of the things that people don't see very often is the OSU, the OU logos side by side. Now, you can see on screen that we did have to separate them with the Oklahoma Mesonet, so we did have to keep them kind of separated a little bit. We didn't want to start any fights. But this SIP comes out of the Oklahoma Mesonet data. It is actually a project, a water conservation project that was funded through DASNR, the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources.
Yes.
And it was one of their team initiative grants, and it allowed us to take a look at the evapotranspiration models and then come back and put them into a format that were much more usable for folks. So it's kind of a neat project because it serves all Oklahomans, and both schools had a lot of input into it.
It certainly is a wonderful project. Thank you for sharing this today.
You're welcome, Kim.